Well, welcome to Dreadnought Mondays. I'm Kenny Ingersoll, and today we are here with Audri Gallegos. Audri, thanks for taking the time to be here. Thanks for being on the show. Much appreciated. If you wouldn't mind, just to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be on the episode with you, Kenny. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, what I do is I help people improve their credit so that they can have more opportunities in their life, whether that's purchasing a home or starting a business. I help people repair and rebuild their credit to be able to achieve those goals. And then I've also started doing a financial coaching program where I help people get their finances together, get a budget going for them, a spending plan, and then we go into getting a debt payoff plan together for them. So I work a lot with around money and credit and just educating people on those topics and how to shift their mindset a little bit more each time that we meet and talk. And yeah, that's something that I love to do, is talk about switching the mindset around money, finances, and life.
Awesome, thank you. So, yeah, I've worked with Audri and had great experience with her. What when you've worked with your clients, what is the most common mindset people have with money, or like one of the most common mindset, or
Well, I think that, for the most part, it's really just a lot of people feel stress and worry around money. And a lot of it too that I've seen is that they feel like there's never enough. They have to work harder to get more, things like that. So it's a real struggle for some people. And it's completely understandable because we're taught, one thing about money. We don't know how to expand our mind around it and understand how it really works. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things.
you know, you mentioned a couple of things that I think were important to highlight. Is one, they're taught like one way, or kind of this is what my grandpa did and this is what my great grandpa did, so this is works for me, or this is all I know, and some of it's just it works for them, so it's good enough for them, and some is just they don't know any better, no fault of their own. And
Yeah,
then the other thing is stress. A lot of people say money's not important, or money's not my main focus, but when you really think about how much stress it causes in one's life, you know, yes, I believe we don't want money to be like our number one priority,
right.
but we need to definitely respect the fact of how much stress or how much of an impact it has in our lives. And
Absolutely.
if we're able to shift the mindset and expand around money to help better manage or help find better resources, learn about better resources, and how to make money work better for us instead of working harder for our money, then it could eliminate much of that stress that we have in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. I know, I mean, one of the main things is for the most part, a lot of us haven't really been taught anything, and that's the problem. They don't educate you in school about money or, you know, personal finances once you get out into the real world. And then you graduate high school or, and then go to college and you're just kind of like slammed with, especially if you go to college, you're slammed with student loan debt. And but even if you don't go to college and you're just out there and you graduate high school and you go and rent your first apartment and stuff, like, I mean, for the most part, yes, there are some parents that teach their kids, once they are 18 and getting their own place and stuff like that, will teach them to manage their finances from what they know or what they've done. But definitely for the most part, people don't know what to do or what they're getting into. And so, yeah, I think a lot of it is just not being educated.
Exactly. When I was done with high school, I knew how to write a check and I knew what a savings account was.
Mm-hmm.
But I had no idea there's this whole other ocean of knowledge and tools and resources available, just out there for the taking.
Yeah.
And even if I did know about it, I had no idea how to use it. I think that's the second step that a lot of people miss is they know about it, but they don't know how to use it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So therefore, it's no good either way.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that case, that's when it's smart. Like if it's something that, you're educating yourself on and you're going to have questions. I think that is when it's important to reach out to somebody who knows more about that, or, like seek a mentor or somebody that can help you get ahead with it and, help make sense of things. Because it can be really confusing in the beginning when you're learning about just managing personal finances or learning about, banking or investing, things like that. It can be really confusing in the beginning. So, yeah, definitely, like, books are helpful. There's YouTube videos. But I think definitely just reaching out to somebody that knows a little bit more that can help you understand and get to where you want to be.
You mentioned a few of the steps, but when did you, or what kind of made the light bulb come on for you when you realized that you wanted to learn more or didn't know what you wanted to know, and what steps did you take to improve that?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. When the light bulb came on for me, I was working full time in a corporate job and working on building a career in that field. And then I was also going to college to build upon that career. But being in that job, I didn't like it. I just felt like it took so much from me and actually held me back from my full potential, and being who I really want to be. And it wasn't the environment that I wanted to be around. It was not an environment that was helping me grow. It was more bringing me down and just I just couldn't be myself, and I felt like I had no freedom in my life. I was stressed about money. I was completely overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do with my finances, and I started looking into different ways to make money, and to make money from home, start my own home-based business. I started looking into things and researching on the internet, and I, came across a whole lot of information, and I started digging in and started seeing how people were making more money and being less stressed, and being able to do what they love and growing as a person. And so that's when I realized there's so much more that I can do in my life. Um, you know, and I just have to take the steps and educate myself towards that. And that's what I started doing. And I started reaching out to people who knew more and had the information that I wanted to know. I mean, I worked with mentors and coaches and things like that. So those are the main steps that I took, and it helped a lot, a lot. I've grown so much from 3 years ago until now because I've done all of that.
Awesome. Um, what was your mindset and confidence level when you first started? You mentioned you wanted to do more. You know, you weren't going to reach your full potential where you currently were. You know, so that kind of answered the mindset a little bit. But if you wouldn't mind expanding just kind of that shift, you're like, oh crap, now what? Or, you know, do I really want to jump into this new path? You know,
Yeah.
your mindset with that and your confidence then when you started to like what they are now.
Oh, yeah. I think that is the biggest struggle when starting this journey is the mindset. Because when you start on a journey like this, your mindset is not, it's just not fully open, and your mindset can really hold you back. And so, yeah, when I first started, I was scared. I had so much fear around doing it, and you know, trying to grow more. There's fear. There's a lot of fear. And when I started realizing like how much fear there was, and like I had confidence, but then when there was something that came up that really challenged me, I wanted to do it, but I wanted to run away at the same time. And so when I started realizing that I was kind of like battling with that, I that's when I started seeking like more mentors and coaches, and started doing more mindset work, and switching my mindset. Like, you know, I'm scared to do something, but then think about it. Once I do it and I put myself out there and do something new, once it's over, like I've done it, and it didn't kill me. I learned from it, I grew from it. And so I mean, that's definitely the biggest challenge when starting anything new or changing things in your life from how they currently have been for many, many years. It's the, I mean, yeah, that's the biggest thing. I and I still work on it. Like 3 years later, I still work on my mindset every day, and I still have, you know, battles with my mind. But I have to remind myself that anything is possible for me, and I have so much potential that I just have to push past the fear and tap into my potential. It's not easy. It's not easy. And so it takes work every day. And that's what I would want to tell people is it's going to take work. It's going to take work. There are people that don't have as much fear as others, or, you know, they can easily shift their mindset. But not everyone's like that. And so we just need, you know, to work on it a little bit harder and need some extra help around it.
Exactly. They need those different levels of change slash mentorship slash um, overcoming fear. You know, what might be stressful for you is not so much for me, and vice versa, or whatever. Or, but that was big. I thank you for expanding on that. And you know, and something else to go along with that is, you know, you just kind of gotta get out of your own way, and at the same time know that you're going to make mistakes, but just do it. And I think like that first step is always the hardest step.
Oh yeah.
But
And yeah, you mentioned getting out of your own way. And that's the biggest thing. When I realized that nobody else can hold me back, it's only me. It's only me that's standing in my way of anything. Um, that was harder for me to realize when I was working in my corporate job, because at that time, I did want to put blame on other people instead of taking responsibility for the circumstances or the situation. Um, I can't control other people, but I can control myself, and I can always, change my thoughts around what's going on. And so once I realized and learned that I have to take responsibility for everything that's going on in my life, whether somebody else did something or not, I'm the only one that stands in my way of my full potential. And so that's why I took the step of and not everyone's going to do this. Some people will build their own business while they're working their job and everything, but with my circumstances, I quit my job and wanted to be home with my kids and work on building a business. And so that was me getting out of my own way and keeping me in a situation that I didn't love. And so, yeah, I mean, we are the only ones that can hold ourselves back.
I like how you pointed that out. It's real easy to do the blame game and point fingers at everyone but ourselves. Excuse me.
Yeah.
When in reality, they're what they do, may have some sort of impact to one degree or another, but ultimately it's up to us to get out of our own way, or up to us to how we respond.
Mm-hmm.
We could blame others all we want, but it's not gonna change unless we recognize that, like you mentioned, and correct ourselves and what we need to do there.
Yeah.
When you mentioned you quit your job and started your own business, do you have all the answers figured out before you did that?
No, and I still don't. So it's the way that I said it may sound like it was an easy thing to do. Excuse me, but it's not easy to just quit your job and start a business at all. So I did not have everything figured out. I just had to allow myself to enjoy the journey of struggle and making mistakes and learning from them, to be able to get better. I mean, in the beginning, I was scared to even get on the phone with potential clients. And like there was just so much fear around everything I did, but I had to keep telling myself to just do it, and then I can learn from it. And so, yeah, I had to embrace the struggle and the learning, which I still do. Like I still have tons to learn, and I learning something new every single day. But yeah, that I don't think that you'll ever have everything figured out. As a business owner, as a human, as a person working in corporate, like nobody, like even millionaires don't have everything figured out, and they have their own struggles as well. So yeah, that's a really good question. Really good question. It's one of the biggest things that can hold somebody else back as well, is thinking, okay, well, I don't know this and I don't know that. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. How am I going to learn all this? yeah, it can take several years. But that's the journey and that's the joy of it.
That was one point that I was hoping to emphasize what you said, is just start. You're never going to have it figured out at the beginning or even ever,
Mm-hmm.
but don't let that hold you back. You know, don't let it be something to keep you in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Just start. I always relate it to a road trip. If you're driving from Utah to Florida, you're not going to see every single red light, or if there's a dead end or a detour in Kentucky or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but that's not going to stop you from getting in the car.
Yeah.
So on your life's path, whether that's at corporate or your own business or whatever, or being a parent or school or whatever the case is, just start. You'll figure out the answers as you need to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, just do it.
Awesome. Then going back to business ownership and being an entrepreneur and whatnot, you mentioned you want to be home with your kids. How do you make that work with your business? Again,
You froze.
another excuse people can use of, oh, I can't do this because of my kids, or I've got this many kids, or this is going to stop me from this. What's some of the things you do to make it work, or something that you would give?
Okay, you're back.
Oh,
You were frozen. So I
sorry.
didn't hear anything.
Sorry. When being business owner and wanting to be home with your kids, as you mentioned, what's something you do or tip you would give that makes it work for you? People unfortunately use their kids as an excuse. I can't do this because my kids will be interrupting, or my kids have soccer, or blah blah blah.
Um,
So what's a tip or something that you do to make your business work with your family?
yeah. So, um, in the beginning, I didn't have any structure around that. So I was basically working on my business like all the time. And to the point to where I wasn't fully being involved with, everything around the house and the kids and everything. And so I had to look into learning how to put structure into my days and plan my days. Um, and so now what I do is I I decided, okay, when do I want to have time to do this or like take client calls or something. I had to put structure around that and also say like, okay, at this time, when 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock comes, I'm not doing any more work. It's family time or it's, time to do things around the house. Um, and so, yeah, for the most part, I have freedom throughout my day, but I do have it structured so that when, I'm able to make my kids food when they're hungry or take them to do something during the day. I just do it on days that I don't have a lot of work or appointments scheduled. Um, but a lot of it is, because I have to do a lot of housework too, cleaning, laundry, dishes. Um, so I like to spend time, in the morning doing that or later at night. Um, and then, when I'm going to get on a call with somebody, I make sure I tell my kids, okay, I'm getting on a call now. You guys need to be quiet for a little bit. They fully understand, and I'm able to do my calls. I realize that with younger, children, mine are almost 10 and 7, but with little toddlers, it can be challenging. You just have to decide, what times you're going to work on your business where, you're not going to get interrupted and things like that. Um, But what I can tell you is I've found out that the more that I make time for other things instead of just my business, like my health, getting exercise, spending time with my husband, that was a struggle in the beginning too, because I was working on my business so much and, just learning so many things. Um, it kind of, like we kind of were, pulling apart. And so I had to realize that and realize that, with being an entrepreneur, you just have to make sure that you're working with everything around your life. And so, yeah, definitely spending more time with my husband helps. Just getting out and doing things that kind of brings out, more creativity. Taking breaks from your business is a good thing. So that's one thing that I would say is like just doing something that you fully enjoy, whether it's going hiking or, going for walks and things like that. Those are so important to involve in your life, for sure.
Thank you. And you mentioned dishes and household chores and stuff. Something that I've learned as being an entrepreneur is, and being a parent and whatnot is don't stress over the small things. If the dishes don't get done one night, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
Or if
yeah,
the vacuuming doesn't get done, or if there's a dirty dish, oh no, someone's gonna see my dirty house. Oh well.
yep, yeah, yeah. That's huge because a lot of times I would kind of be hard on myself, like I didn't get that done and I was supposed to. But one thing, I've been teaching my kids about chores and helping out. We all live in the same house and we all have to clean up after ourselves. And so my kids are starting to do that, which makes it a lot easier and, helping me keep the house cleaned up and stuff. And so it's getting easier, I would say. It is getting easier, for sure. And yeah, I used to beat myself up about it, but then I realized it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean I'm lazy or I don't care about cleaning my house. Those are things that would go through my mind when I didn't get those things done. But now I know how to push myself to get it done and know when I have the time to do it, and then I just have to take that time and do it. Um, so yeah, it's so many things that come up that you have to work through. But I can honestly say, as hard as it is, I I love learning this way and I love doing it, and it helps me grow so much more. I feel like.
Thank you. Yeah, and you've after a while you'll realize, like you mentioned, your business is not the only thing in your life. You got to make sure you're taking the proper time for more important things as well.
Yep.
And I like how you mentioned your kids are kind of helping out more and stuff. And I think that's a good segue to tie back into money. One thing we're dealing with our kids, we don't do like an allowance per se, but if you help mom and dad do these, the vacuuming, the dishes, whatever the things that they can do, and that allows mom and dad to focus on their business more, and then we could pay for a trip to Disneyland next year, or then we can go to Nickelmania, or things like that. If you help mom and dad do this by doing these things, and then it teaches them initiative, discipline, good money habits, and kind of forward thinking as well. So it all kind of ties in. So I like how you brought that up.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that. Yeah, I like how you're doing that, showing your kids that the work that you do now, you may not get the reward right now, right after you do the work, but it will come. down the road. And so I think that's really good because it helps them realize that not everything is about instant gratification, which is one of the things that I'm also working on for myself and helping my kids learn that, because in this day and age, like, everything is just so convenient and instant for us that we expect everything to be like that, especially when we start a business. We want it to be successful right away. And I mean, it happens for some and it doesn't happen for everyone. But yeah, definitely teaching our kids the power of work in the beginning to get the reward later is very important. So I really like that.
Thank you. Yeah, and also it helps them, learn to play on each other's strengths. They can focus on here, or I can do what I'm good at, instead of focusing over here, which I can do, but then that would allow me to do stuff that they can't. So like
Mm-hmm.
you're good at what you do, so I let you do what you do, which lets me focus on what I do instead of me struggling to try and figure out what you do and
Mm-hmm.
what Bob over here does. So this kind of helps them have that mindset shift of utilizing the tools and resources and strengths of others around you in a positive manner.
Oh yeah, yeah. Partnership and teamwork.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of the things that I've also had to learn in stepping into entrepreneurship is if I there's always people that know how to do things that I don't know how to do. And so, that's when you utilize those people, and create partnerships and yeah, create a great team. Like, even if you're not in the same business, you can become partners and work together and work as a team.
Thank you. And it helps with the mind shift because this took me years to finally get through my thick skull. You know, um, like mowing the lawn. I can mow the lawn just fine and it looks great and stuff, but I could pay someone to mow the lawn. A lot of people they'll focus on the $30 or $50 or whatever they spend to pay someone to mow the lawn, but they don't think about how much they could earn in that same time focused on their business or what they're really good at.
Mm-hmm.
I save $50 over here, but I lose $200 over here just to put a number on it. So
Mm-hmm.
it took me a lot of time to see past that $50,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever that is, fixing my truck or whatever.
Yep.
It took a long time to see past that $50 or $100 to focus on the value that I could bring in over here if it was, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So switching your mindset around not being scared to pay somebody to do something that you are capable of doing, but you need to free up some of your time. So I think that's one thing too is we think that we have to do everything. And I mean, you don't. You don't have to do everything. So yeah, that's a great point. And I think that is a huge that can be a huge struggle too with mindset and money is, you're not wanting to pay that money. Like, oh, well, that's $50 that I'm going to lose. But what doors or opportunities can it open up for you?
exactly. I like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, again, I'm going back to instant gratification. It may not bring in money instantly, but it might increase your potential down the road. But it never would have happened if you were focused on this $50 over here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like that. So thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Awesome. What would be one or two of the biggest tips on mindset and money that you've seen that you would give people?
Man, I would say try to realize what thoughts you have that are really holding you back. Like you're thinking that they're logical, but they're really holding you back because what we believe, our beliefs and our thoughts, we believe are true. And so we don't think too much more into it. And so if you can like find those things around money, those thoughts around money that are really holding you back, you have to start working on that. A lot of people have healing to do around money. I've had to do it myself. You know, some people have gotten themselves in financial situations that aren't ideal, and it can hurt them. You know, they have so many emotions around it that they can't think about money. They don't want to deal with it. So I would definitely say just realize like the things that are really holding you back with money, and try to expand your thoughts and your mind more around it.
Thank you. I like how you pointed that last part out. Try to expand, to iterate on that, or is be open to other ideas, other possibilities. I think would go along well with that.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. And this has been amazing. I've taken a bunch of notes here. So Audri, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here on Dread No Mondays and taking the time to be on the show and share your knowledge and experience with us. So I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that we got together and had this conversation. I think it's been long overdue. So yeah, thank you so much for having me and letting me share my journey with you and everyone.
Well, thank you. And one last question. Where can people find you if they wanted to reach out to you or learn more?
Yeah. So I mean, anybody can find me on Facebook under Audri Gallegos. I also have my business page, Credit Stein LC. And I also have, for my credit improvement business, you can find more information at www.creditstein.com. And that's CreditStein, Credit Stein. And yeah, just anybody can reach out to me. I'm available. I answer messages. So yep, those are the ways that you can get a hold of me and find me. So thank you.
And we will link that website in the comments with this. And again, thank you for being here.